So this trip has brought us to Southsea, which is in south of England next to Portsmouth and Southampton. But I have brought Raina along with me, my daughter, and it's an amazing trip. I'm going to really appreciate this, and this is going to be a memory I won't forget. With views across to the Isle of Wight, the coastal resort of Southsea has a traditional British waterfront charm. With a fresh air of trendiness brought in by the increasing number of independent shops and eateries that now reside in the special slice of seaside England. After settling into our local flat, we took a short walk to the Southsea Castle. Southsea Castle was one in a series of forts constructed by King Henry VIII in what was the most ambitious scheme of coastal defence since the Roman times. So what are you thinking about this experience?
I don't know, it's gorgeous and history is really cool. And looking at a really old castle and seeing that this used to be a moat full of water.
And it's been how long since you've been to England?
6 years.
5 years. And we're having some good daddy-daughter time.
Yeah.
The castle was built in great haste in 1544, prompted by King Henry VIII's fear of the French attack on Portsmouth, incorporating the latest continental ideas on the layout of artillery forts. So the thing about this gun, it was developed in 1860, and at that point it was a modern warfare because this cannon, it has this mechanism that you can, as it fires, it shoots back, so it has this accuracy that the old cannons never used to have. But the interesting thing to me is that only in the 1900s, about 40 years from this point, we had machine guns with the accuracies and the bullets and obviously the horrible warfare that started to happen at that point. So when we look at history and how quickly this technology developed, and to this day of what we have in war, it's just amazing. It was not long finished when on July the 18th, 1545, a French invasion fleet did indeed approach Portsmouth after landing on the Isle of Wight. Henry VIII mobilised his fleet and was at the Southsea Castle for the Battle of Solent the next day. However, it was a dark day for the king. His much-loved flagship, the Mary Rose, sank during the battle. The castle was to be an active military base for over 400 years, when in 1960 the castle finally withdrew from active service and was purchased by Portsmouth City Council. What would you say is the most fascinating piece about this castle?
Just how old it is, in the 1500s, and that it was a military war place until the 1960s.
One thing I love to do when I'm in England is have some good fish and chips, and where better to do that than on the coast? So here we go, let's get some good fish and chips. How long have you been here?
Since 2018.
How long?
2018.
18. You've got a good reviews on on this fish and chip shop. You get a lot of good people coming in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not bad, thank you.
You must cook them. Well, when I looked online, it said it's the best fish and chips. One review said it's the best fish and chips for miles. What have you ordered?
Fish and chips with mushrooms.
Mushy peas, and what else?
I guess some curry and gravy.
After picking up the fish and chips, we headed back to the flat to check on Mum. What are you thinking about this little cottage we're in?
It's lovely, it's very well appointed.
Yeah. It's real close. I know you had a nap, but it's real close to everything here. Like the castle's right there, the boardwalk and the pier. Let's see your first bite of this fish. You hadn't had this for a long time. Look at that. You get fish. Is it good?
Yes.
The next morning, we headed off towards Portsmouth to Porchester Castle. Since they were built more than 1700 years ago, the walls, towers and the enclosing ditches of the Roman fort at Porchester have been the consistent and defining element of this site. Porchester's castle's remarkable history begins in the 3rd century AD, when the Romans built a vast fort here. In the 5th century, this waterside fortress was transformed into a Saxon settlement, and after the conquest of 1066, it became a Norman castle. For medieval kings, it was an important embarkation point for crossing the Channel. From 1665, Porchester served as a prisoner of war camp, a role that reached its heights during the French Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars of 1793 to 1815, when it housed up to 8,000 prisoners of many nationalities and backgrounds at any one time. The one thing that I just love about these castles and the history in England is just that you can actually touch history. To think that these walls were put together 800 years ago, and to think how many people have actually touched it, or even a person that put this piece together, just amazes me. That's what I love about it. It's just the touching what's been here for centuries. Just down the road in Southampton was our good friends Bob and Jackie, and they had invited us aboard their boat to take us across to the Isle of Wight. Well, we're on our way to the Isle of Wight. It's a bit of a cloudy day, but it's about an hour and a half. We're going to get over there and have some lunch, maybe a little bit of shopping, and then head back to Harpenden. What are you thinking?
Wonderful. Bring back lots of lovely memories.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the boat.
The boat was built in 1994 in the Channel Islands by Aquastar Company. It's a very good sea boat, not very fast, but it's quite old design now. Not much volume by current standards of this size of 38-foot motorboat. Nevertheless, the important thing is it's a very good sea boat.
And it's going to get us over there safely.
Well, it won't be the boat's fault. It doesn't. I hope. Travelling across to the Isle of Wight was a wonderful trip, and it just lays a short distance from the Hampshire coast. The cruise across to the Isle of Wight. Hey, here we go. It's lovely to see you all.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Kate.
Cheers, Kate.
The Isle of Wight has been a popular holiday and short break destination in the UK since the 18th century. The island became one of Europe's most fashionable resorts after Queen Victoria and her husband Prince Albert chose the Isle of Wight as their family home in the 1800s. They built Osborne House, which can be visited throughout the year. After arriving in Cowes, we took a short walk down to the Island Yacht Club for a spot of lunch. I think, Raina, you got your, what is it?
Very delicious.
It's a request, wasn't it? After such an amazing trip, it was time to head home and think about the next adventure I would take with Mum.
Our love is alive. Our love is alive.